Hello. Hey, welcome to Ochre Studios. I am Vern on the screen. It's just me, little old me. Anyways, I am off this week, so I thought I would do some live streams during the day just to see who might show up and just see what's going on. So if you were not here yesterday, which I can tell, Geek Strong's here. He said he wasn't. He wanted front row seats. We were doing a whole bunch of head swaps yesterday, and it was kind of fun. So I don't know what it's going to be like today, but I am going to show this right now. This is something that I did yesterday. And what I did was I had swapped out, let me put my hand back there just so I get that focus. I had swapped out the head for the Scarlett Johansson face sculpt on this version of the Black Widow, which is the one that comes with the motorcycle. And then I took the hair off of the standard Marvel head and I put it on the Scarlett Johansson face sculpt because I was trying to get more of a look for that Iron Man 2 Black Widow, but it's not really that perfect because she needs a little bit more curl in this hair, right? Like, so, you know what? Is my audio coming through? Yeah. Okay, so I know I was having, hey, Kat, how's it going? So I know I was having some issues with my audio, so that's why I just turned up my volume over there just to check. But anyway, so I did do the hair swap on this figure. I think it looks okay. I wish it was a little fuller in here and maybe had a little bit more curl to it. And maybe that's something that I can work on, just doing that in the future. I just have to figure out how to do hair. If you ever see this custom person, her name is Christina Conan or whatever. If you follow her on like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, she does custom figures. I don't know how she does the hair, but it looks super, super fantastic when she does it. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, I need to give her a perm. So let's see. Geek Strong got first here. He wanted a front row seat. Cat's here. You got Josh from Cap Cave wants to give me a perm, give her a perm. And I know what you mean, but you know who would be perfect for giving her a hairstyle is Blue Harvest. So if he shows up, I'm going to see if he can do the hairdo I saw him do. Hey, Brandon, you do hair buns too? Okay, I know that he did something with like caps. He got it and he was doing it on his channel. I saw him doing it. And I don't know, how would I do that? Like I started thinking about, have you guys ever used, because if I use like a milk the stuff that I used for making like the hard bags, and I don't have any of my custom quill out anymore, but the way I did his backpack and stuff, I used, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a putty, but it gets really hard. You put like the two parts together and it hardens. It would be too hard for the hair. And I don't know how to, what I could use to make this kind of flexibility and get color into it. I had tried to use like that silicone or that plastic that you melt down and then you could like mold it, but that never really worked for me. And then I had used on some stuff that Sugru. It's like a glue that's made out of putty. I don't know if you've seen the commercials, but you can fix all your like cables. Like if your iPod cable is like open like that, you can put the Sugru just to cover that up, and it still remains flexible. And it's white. It comes in white and different colors. But you can't really paint it. That's the problem. So I'm wondering if I mix two colors, like if I get black and red and then mix it together, would I get like a darker red? So I'm going to have to try that. Oh, okay, you do hair buns. Most hot glue is paintable. So so the hot glue, I guess if I make little strands, right, I can just kind of glue them on. Maybe that could work. Okay. with a modeling putty, but did that get really hard or stiff? And so was all the fur just like very stiff? Because I'm looking for something that would make the hair very pliable. So I am trying to experiment with different stuff, and maybe I should do like a whole, like all of my failures in customizing, because let's see if I got this guy up here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before they came out with the Mud Trooper, the one with the solo, the Mimbin one, I had made this guy out of a Death Trooper, and I kind of molded most the face, and this is basically just like wire is what I use for those hoses. And you can see my goggles really aren't that great or anything. And as a matter of fact, this helmet is pretty much molded out of that same kind of clay. And then I had to paint him up. But my first version, I was doing it on one of those Poe Dameron, the pilot figures, the ones where he's like in the leather jacket and stuff like that. And the head, the helmet was like this big. It was like, it stuck out probably another 1/4 inch on each side and was like this tall. It was just crazy. It was so gigantic. And so maybe I should do a video of all the parts that I have lying around where I was like trying to mess with stuff, and it just didn't go very well. Let's see. Mold it before it hardens. Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly like the stuff that I used for this like head, because it's actually very durable. So I'm looking for something that when it hardens, it will be like this. Something where like the hair would be pliable, because if you have long hair, you want it to be able to like go over the shoulder, kind of like how this flexes back over the shoulder. And I just don't know what to use, but maybe I will give the hot glue a try and just see how well that works. But definitely, if all else fails, I'm just going to have to mold some hair. I did want to open some figures today. I have these figures that I've got. Some of these came out of like auction lots, and some of them came from the store. All right, so you guys are going to make fun of me for my bargain hunting, but I did get this version of Star-Lord, and I have the other version from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but I really wanted this one because I wanted the Walkman and stuff out of it. And now that I have it, and it was pretty cheap. I think I got this for like $8.99 and then around $7 tax. So for less than $20, I got this one. It was a single item in an auction. So I usually don't bid on single items, but I was like, if I can get the whole thing for under $20, then I think it kind of could be worth it. But what I realize now that I got it is these headphones are not orange. And I think that those ear posts are supposed to be orange. So I think to get the right look, I'm going to have to paint that. But let's open them up and just take a closer look at the figure, because we have them right there. And let's get that thing open. Oh, here you can see the the Goodwill tag, right? So they can find it on the shelf. And what I notice is, like, a lot of times, like if you shop like online at like a thrift store online, they do sometimes, even though the figure's brand new, they do open it. I don't know why they do that, but I think it's so they can take pictures. But this is part of the Groot Build-A-Figure. I don't have any of the other Groot parts, so I have that arm. If anybody's looking for an arm, I can always give you a hand. I know that was a really bad joke. So this one is kind of interesting because it's like this. It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version. Ooh. He comes with the 2 different head sculpts. I'm ducking because I dropped the guns on the ground. He does come with the 2 different head sculpts. Oh, I can't even move this. Okay. He does come with 2 different head sculpts, which is the one without the mask and the one with the mask. which is kind of good. And the other one, same thing. He's on my shelf with the helmet on, and it is looks a little bit different because this one looks like it's a much darker, more black painted than the other one. But the interesting part that I haven't seen this before was, and I don't think I got any of these before. This is the Marvel Legends like Build-A-Figure guide. Collect all these figures to make the Groot, and you can check mark them off as you go. I did not ever see this in any of the packages, and I wonder if I just ignored it and tossed them. But there's his what I call his man bag, right? And I think it looks pretty good. The figure. Let's hope that like this isn't going to be one of those brittle where the joints. Oh, look at that! So this is the second part that happens when you buy like figures secondhand. You don't know how long they've been in the package, and this is not because somebody was ruining the figure. This is because he's been stuck in that package for so long, and he kind of just molded in such a way. But you can see that looks like it's starting to weaken right there a little bit. And I have a figure that I got brand new. I opened it up. It was perfect. I put it on the shelf in like a bent leg position, and it's now that leg is kind of like weakening. And it just happens over time when you have them. Now, so it kind of makes you realize why people want to keep their figures perfect in the box. But even in the box, if they have them in sort of a bent arm position or something, you can have some issues with the figure. Let's see, rubber cement. That's another one I'll probably have to give it a try. You use a man purse? That's good. The first time I ever heard that thing like man bag, I think that was on Friends, right? Where Joey had his man bag. But I used to have a fanny bag, but that was quite a long time ago. And now I'm like down to, I think, just carrying like my phone and like my ID pretty much. I mean, you don't even need a wallet anymore for anything. So this is apparently the Sony Walkman, and has no other colors on it. I'm pretty sure that the Sony in the movie, the one that they use, has some blue on it. And then here's the headphones, and there's no wiring for it at all. So apparently these are Bluetooth. But I think it looks pretty good when you got them on his head, right? But I will end up painting those earpieces orange just because I think like that would be the way to go. And of course you got this little ball right here. And then you got his pistols. So I think this is kind of cool. I'm just trying to figure out, this doesn't really have like a clip or anything. So I'm just wondering where this thing is supposed to go on him. Like you'd think there would be some sort of a holder or something so he doesn't have to be holding it in his hand. And I think the scaling of it is way off, because if you look at that right there, it's like his barely the size of his fingers. And I'm just going to show you this. So I know this isn't the same. This is a Sanyo, but if you look at it, it sticks out of my hand. And this is about the same size as that Walkman was. Right? So, I mean, it should stick up a little bit more. So I think that the scaling on this little piece of plastic is just really tiny, too tiny. It's a ooh, Coach. That is fancy. Very impressed. Let's swap out this head. Yeah, see, we're doing head swaps already. So there's the head on this figure, which is supposed to be Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm not sure that that looks like him at all. I'm almost thinking this could be the guy Paul Walker from the Fast and the Furious, maybe. Like if he were to have grown a beard or something. I didn't see all those movies, so I'm wondering if Chris Walker was playing Star-Lord, that would be his head sculpt, or maybe like, can you think of somebody else you think that might look like? Because I'm pretty sure that's not Chris Pratt. This is way before like the 3D face scanning, I'm guessing, because this was from that first release of Guardians of the Galaxy. And then, man, he just does not want to hold on to these pistols, does he? See, and they were in the package, like in his hands. So his hands got like kind of like distorted a little bit and over time, and they just kind of don't want to be held. So let's see. They played pretty fast and loose with the quick hands in this movie, in my opinion. I think it does look pretty good, though. I mean, I'm kind of glad to finally have this guy. What I was saying is they played pretty fast and loose with this little orb, right? Like, I mean, you totally saw me take it out of my hand when I did that. I guess I could have did it like this, right? And you would have heard it like roll off the ground. And it was pretty big. I mean, like, it's pretty big to be, well, you know what? It's in the Infinity carpet now. So maybe it was just the orb itself was able to disappear. So see what I'm talking about? This guy does not want to stand up on his own, or does not want to hold on to these pistols is what the problem is, or these blasters. But I think it's kind of cool. I'm kind of glad to have them in the collection. I'm going to do something to stiffen up these hands. I think I'm going to heat them up and hold them in the closed position for a while so that they kind of maybe tighten the grip a little bit. I think you can do that. Get a blow dryer, heat up the hand, hold them more in the closed position, and then I think with the it'll shrink, it'll close up the fingers a little bit. So I was thinking about this Groot arm and the size of it, and I was thinking about this like Tri-Sentinel, and you know, I got that Xavier piece recently, and then I was thinking, like, if I had never gotten that piece, I could have modified that to put like Groot's arm in the Tri-Sentinel. So now we're doing arm swaps, right? So that could be kind of interesting in a way, as to like, if I got more Groot pieces, like the legs and the other arm, to just turn this Tri-Sentinel into like half of a Groot and half of a Tri-Sentinel. That could be kind of like an interesting little kit bash or whatever. Let's see. You do custom figures. You made a Slave Leia with a reaction figure from the Planet of the Apes. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea, actually. And a vintage indoor Leia head. Oh yeah, that would probably look pretty good. So you're gonna have to show that off. I'm gonna want to see that. Oh, you know what? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get a chance to see that, aren't I? At least I better. I have the Slave Leia, the Black Series one, in the box. I've never taken it out. I never really had a place on my shelf to put it, and I'm thinking like I may end up wanting to do a head swap, and I was looking for the Bespin Leia. I was going to use that one to do the head swap on that, but then I thought about it and I thought, man, if I get another Bespin Leia, I think I want to make the Ewok one, the one where she's in the Ewok village, because I think that would be cool. So I do have this figure, and the thing is like I'm opening these figures because it's like I can just never get to them, right? And do like you know, like you can't just open them and do a review on like every figure. But I do want to get these open. This guy's got to go on the shelf in the display. And I'm not a big Apocalypse fan, or this genre, or the 90s X-Men or anything like that. My X-Men was more of this like 80s, that transition from the 80s to the 90s. That's when I was awesome. I'm going to get to see that Leia. That's going to be cool. Can't wait to see it. I'm more of like a 90s or late 80s into the 90s. And that's when I was like collecting comics. So I talked about this before. So Dark Phoenix. This would be the Cyclops that I would want. I've been looking for this Cyclops. There's a version of this that came in a double pack with the Dark Phoenix, but man, is it expensive. And I just cannot bring myself to pay what people are asking for, like on eBay. So I had bought one of these. This is the guy who was in that light blue with like the X all over him. And I did a repaint on this just to make this version of the Cyclops. And I think it turned out okay. I mean, like if you look close, you can see some of the paint has come off because of the arm movement and stuff like that. And I got to figure out how to prevent that from doing it. Some of you guys who are experts in customizing can throw me some tips any day to prevent that kind of stuff. But I did make this one. So mine is this. And then when this Storm came out, I was super jazzed that this version of Storm came out. And now, so I was reading comics when Storm was wearing this into when she transitioned to the Mohawk and like the leather jacket. So I got to get that one too. But I mean, this is an awesome figure, I think, to have. It's big. I like these bigger figures like this. I have the Hulks. That's one of the reasons I have like Juggernaut up here on my shelf, along with another Thanos back here. And then what I did was I actually brought out these two, which are the Gamerverse Hulk and Mr. Hyde Build-A-Figure. And the reason I did that was because, you know, of course, I have the head swaps. I know that's what this is, but I did it because I got this Build-A-Figure part 2. This is part of the Crimson Dynamo, and I don't have any of the parts, but I thought about, wouldn't that be cool if Mr. Hyde had one of Crimson Dynamo's hands and you just did like kind of a crossover between that version of the Hulk, Mr. Hyde, and that Crimson Dynamo arm. I think that looks really, really cool. And if I had the other arm, I might even put the other arm on this body because I think it looks super cool. And then maybe even figure out how to swap out that head with something that could be a little bit different. And I think this is kind of cool. This is like remnant of, to me, of Winter Soldier when he rips off his jacket sleeve and reveals his like Winter Soldier arm. But that was kind of like my idea behind why I brought these bigger figures out. And I do like them. So let's open this guy up and take a closer look at him. Let's see. Hold on. Let's look at the comments first. Okay. You made a vintage Leia, also the Ewok Village. Yeah, right. I love making figures. You like the Crimson Dynamo arm on the. I'm thinking, awesome. So yeah, so I don't know if I like miss instructions in this stuff before because I don't like look behind like the boards and stuff. But usually, like you know how I had that whole group checkoff sheet. Usually, it's just this little sheet of paper with a whole bunch of warnings about like, hey, if you're not, 4 years old, you shouldn't be playing with this figure. And then you talk to 4-year-olds and there's not one 4-year-old that wants it because they'd rather have something else. So he does come with a fist hand. This is going to be like the Hulk, right? He's got like one fist, one open hand, and one of my Hulks came with one open hand and one fist. That was the 80th anniversary Hulk. Oh my gosh, look at that. That skull looks really cool. Too bad there's no peg hole now to stick this on another figure, because can you imagine like something like this? Now, sorry about this, buddy, but this is Jackson. But can you imagine having that like that or something, right? Like, oh man, that could be like a really cool figure. Or you stick this on a stormtrooper and just cut the helmet a little bit. That way, like the skull is revealed like under the helmet. Partial helmet's broken, and then you got the skull underneath. That could actually be really, really cool. Sorry about the noise. So this guy comes with big gigantic cape. And look at that. I'm laughing a little bit now that I got him out of the package, because I'm thinking about this like piece right here and the way it sits up. And I'm thinking maybe he crashed his spaceship and they had to put this neck brace on him so that he wouldn't turn his head and cause further injuries. Because I keep seeing this in that show 911 where they like strap your head and stuff like that, or these medical shows. So these are attached to the top, which are pretty good like that, because they don't hinder kind of like the movement that much. And this guy has some pretty good movement for being kind of a bigger figure. I mean, he does have a little bit that prevents that elbow turn a little bit. That's unfortunate. But with this arm movement up here and back here, and he doesn't have that fly joint like you have on like the Hulk figures that would give him like a larger range of motion to reach back, but he does reach about that much, which is actually pretty decent. And then of course you can always swap this out with this other fist, and then he comes with this other head where his mouth is not open. So I always like to see, oh, yep, look at that. It was super easy to do. And look, it's got some plastic holding this piece down. So, and it just goes around it to kind of hold it into place. And it's got these like two little pegs here to kind of hold it, but that holds it even further so it doesn't really move that much. I see, and my question is, do they really think you should take that off? Because I think once you take it off, you're going to get a lot more movement in that piece than you will want to have on your shelf. I'm trying to get this head on. So it's almost like with my speeder bike Black Series, I leave that gun strapped in with those things so that the gun doesn't fall out, because otherwise you're going to end up like losing that weapon. So he's also got these two pegs right here in the cape, and they go right into those two holes right there. So he's got his cape. And it's kind of a nice cape. I mean, like, it's a very flexible feeling fabric, and it has some like definite like motion in there, right? Like some really good design and texture. So I think like overall, I think it's kind of cool. And if he was who would that be? Like Horatio or whatever, talking to the old court jester. I guess I gotta read my Hamlet again. But yeah, this figure is actually pretty cool. If you'd only hold on to that skull, but I am going to drill a hole in that skull, and I'm going to figure out something to do with it, because I think that's like a total waste just to have an awesome piece like this and not be able to stick it on a figure, especially for like a head swap, if I was ever going to do a head swap special. And check this out. So I showed this briefly in yesterday's live stream. I used to draw when I was a kid. Well, I still draw a little bit, but I used to draw a lot more. And I had this character called Dr. Skull. And yeah, he just wore a cape, and he was like ominous. He was kind of like your, maybe like your overlord type character. But this skull could really become that figure if I wanted to make a custom of that old figure that I used to have in the comic book. I thought about trying to find that red skull and doing the same thing with that, but I almost think that looks pretty cool because of the paint on it, unless I get that red skull and I can just paint it to like match that look. All right, thank you. Yeah, I've had this Apocalypse figure in the closet for quite a while, and I haven't opened them, and it's just sitting there and sitting there. So one day I just took a bunch of figures out of my closet saying, hey, I'm going to open these. And then they still sat in my room right next to where I usually do my filming, and I have not gotten to them. So I do like him. He's kind of cool. I like the fact that he's big. He's not too heavy either. Like if you compare him to some of these other ones, like the Hulks and stuff like that, they're not heavy. The heaviest figure I think I have is the what's this guy called? Guys, I think it's a Marvel Select, but is this guy? The Abomination, and he is so heavy. I was gonna put him on a scale one time just so I could see how heavy he was, but I just couldn't do it. But I bet I could do like, I mean, because I don't have any free weights or anything at my house, but that guy's pretty heavy, so I guess I could do some curls with him. That would be kind of funny, right? Like here I am. That's the limit of what I can do. So anyways, I do have this set. I got this Amazon Prime. This is a Prime Day deal. These are the AIM Trooper and the AIM Scientist. So I'm going to open this one up next just to get them out of the package because, well, they haven't been in there that long, but I do want to get them out of the package. Part of the reason is I don't keep any of the boxes or anything like that, so they just take up space. The unfortunate part about this is they spend a lot of time taking these pictures, which is really kind of cool, and then they develop like the artwork for the box, and the boxes do look pretty nice, in my opinion. I'm just not like that into like the boxes for some reason. I know some people keep them, and some people, they got totes in their garage, and I'm just imagining, you know, with the number of figures that I have, I just imagine like how many totes that I have. So this is something I might keep. This is the backing from the back of the box. And sometimes I'll pull something like this out and I'll think like, you know what? This is actually pretty cool and could definitely be like background for like a photograph or something like that. So I would definitely kind of keep this just to kind of like throw it behind stuff so that you could have just a little bit different of a like a diorama feel. And then when you're taking pictures or whatever, but typically, and this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I am doing a live stream tomorrow at 10. And what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter or have seen my Instagram, but once in a while I'll take pictures, and I even take pictures that other people take of their figures, and I've like edited them. Like people will stand there, Boba Fett up on the counter or something like that, and take a picture of it. And I've taken that picture down and removed like the background, put them in flight, put like some lasers and stuff like that, and then put that back up onto Twitter or whatever for them. Trying not to upset anybody, but so far everybody has kind of liked the edits that I have done. So I'm kind of glad about that. And it's pretty easy to do, like with just a couple of apps on the iPad. And I don't typically try to use any paid versions of apps unless it's like a one-time purchase. I'm definitely not the kind of person, oops, sorry if that's loud. I don't like to do subscription stuff at all. So the apps that I'm going to be using tomorrow are all like either a one-time purchase or free version or something like that. And I'm just going to do some little tutorials on how I do like some of the editing and how it can be actually pretty quick. So if you just take like a picture in front of like a solid background or something like that, you can put that guy into like a space mode. And it is kind of fun too, because when you're sitting around watching like TV or something like that, it could be kind of therapeutic to like do, especially if you have the iPad. And I have an iPad that's like a pencil because I do some drawing on there. But I thought that I would just do a stream tomorrow and just kind of loosely go over that. I'm not an expert. I'm not the greatest artist in the world. So, you know, for me, it's going to be like amateur hour. But If it helps one person be able to like do something that maybe they didn't do before or whatever, I think it's worthwhile, right? Like yesterday we were doing a whole bunch of head swapping, and I'm hoping like somebody like got the bug, like to go home and like swap some heads, you know. And I think it's awesome that you know you're Geek Strong, you're making custom figures. I think that's fantastic. um, and Josh over there, he does all kinds of like creative stuff. He's got his like 3D printer going. He's been painting stuff. He's got a couple of videos where he's done some painting, and the stuff is turning out awesome. You keep your boxes in the attic. See, I lived in an area of San Diego that was kind of in the mountains, and it would sometimes get to be well over 100 degrees in the summer for like multiple days of the year, and it was just dry hot heat, and my attic would get so hot, and sometimes those plastic bins would like warp, and I had stuff in there that I thought, oh yeah, it's going to be good and stuff like that. And when we moved, when we bought our new home and we moved from that, um, we took almost nothing from our attic because one, we didn't see that stuff in so long that it was like, well, we're never going to see it, and two, it was like some of it just was done in because of like the heat. Here it would be a little bit different, but I'm trying not to keep the boxes, but I love it that people do and stuff like that. I think it's great if you keep all that stuff so you can put it all back together. It does help the valuation if you want to like try to resell your stuff later on. The thing is with me, I'm probably not in the business of probably getting ready anything that I have here, but I think that's great that you got them and you got space to do it. I have like, you know, I got one room in my house. My wife said, you can have that room and the rest of the house is hers. No, I'm just kidding. but I'm trying not to, you know, overload my garage and stuff like that. Fabulous Disaster. Hello, welcome. What we're doing is we've so far unboxed some figures, and we're just kind of talking about toys a little bit. So this is the AIM Scientist and the Trooper. So this is the Trooper, and he kind of looks kind of cool. And you know what the thing is? I was trying to think like, oh, okay, who does he actually look like? Let's see. ZBrush, learn how to do action figure head sculpts. Oh, okay. ZBrush. See, I want to do some head sculpts too and print them. I've been buying like action figure heads from this guy Watto's Scrapyard on eBay, and finally, I think he's on Facebook. I don't have Facebook, but so the few that I bought from him. But yeah, I would love to be able to like 3D print my own heads. I did do my head, but that was because I scanned it with my phone and then printed it out. But to be able to like artistically make a sculpt from like next to nothing, I think would be really cool. This is the AIM Trooper. I think he looks really cool. I do like that face on there. It looks really cool. Am I thinking like Deathstrike or something like that? Maybe, but that would be a DC character, right? But maybe in the face a little bit. I do like the body. I mean, he does have that tilt right here in the middle, and then he does have that waist. And I always like it when they put this like gun on the side. And I'm wondering why in that Captain America Disney Plus wave, they gave the U.S. agent like a gun that doesn't come out of like a holster like that. Why couldn't they just do this, right, for that that captain or that U.S. agent? And I think that what they're doing is with that Captain America version of the U.S. agent, he's just a slight repaint and has the same gun that doesn't come out. So it's going to be kind of disappointing that I'm going to have to like modify that if I want to have that gun come out, because he did use the gun in the show. Oh, there you go. Red X, Teen Titans. Yep. A little bit. Look at this. And he's wearing his proper knee pads. He's got his shin guards on. He's got his chest plate. So if he wanted to, he could call out balls and strikes down at the ballpark because he does have his face mask on. No, I'm just joking. I know that's probably a dumb joke. Okay, so I got these things too. These are like shoulder straps, and there were two of them. There was a brown one and this other one, and I'm going to stick this on here just to see what it looks like. I think this is the one that will go with him because of the paint. So he's got the shoulder strap and it goes over that hole perfectly. He's got his rifle here, and then there is another head sculpt, but I'm like trying to figure out, is this for the trooper or for the scientist, you think? Because this looks like oh, I guess maybe if you wanted to just have, oh, I don't know, let me figure this out a little bit. Name scientist. So well, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? This is the other head sculpt on that. Okay, I made a micro machine sized S-Star pallet toy. Wow, really? That's actually really cool. Printing out your own Death Star. Red X. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. And then I guess, like, I don't know if this guy should wear this helmet or not, but I guess he could. There's like an extra one of these helmets. I don't see why it would be different because they look identical. It's not like one of them has the mouth open and the other one. But I do like this head that it came with, so I'll probably leave them like this. This guy's kind of cool. I do like this figure a lot. And almost so much that I feel like I could do one other thing here. Hold on. I know it's a AIM scientist, but I don't know why I get like this. Maybe if there was something happening and he needed to become like a G.I. Joe classified Flint in some sort of special weapons and tactics gear. I don't know why, like, I see this and I think like this would be like a really cool, like for joining, like, you know, putting in with like the G.I. Joe classifieds in a way, probably because he's all decked out and tactical and stuff like that. So here's the AIM scientist. He's got this little shoulder belt. He does have this big gigantic rifle too, which is kind of crazy looking. And then he's got this little pistol piece. And then he has this little machine gun. Well, all this stuff was in there. So, I mean, somebody's got to be wielding that stuff. And then he has this super spectacular backpack that goes on. And I'm guessing like I'll probably have to remove the head to be able to get this backpack on. And you know, the thing is, I only assumed that this backpack went to him because it was closer in the package. But it almost doesn't fit around his collar. So in a way, I'm thinking it's probably going to have to go on him, which is fine. I'll just stick this head back on. And let's check out how this thing goes on him. This peg right here is flimsy, so it's making it very difficult to peg in the back on either one of these figures. This is not good. Okay. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that backpack. What do you guys think? I'm thinking that they could have saved the rubber on that. So he does have this like brown strap, and then there is this like brown shoulder harness. So I'm thinking like this shoulder harness is really for this guy. But the thing is like, I'm going to take this off first. I'm going to put the shoulder harness on. I'm seeing how I'm giving you a play-by-play of what I'm doing. This is how it is if I was all by myself. And I'm going to stick this back on. I don't know if anybody else does that. And then I'm going to put the helmet back on. Maybe. All right, so I got this AIM scientist like kind of decked out. I gave him this like brown shoulder strap. It kind of like runs into each other, so it's not like congenial really to have both of them on. I may just pull this thing off because after spending all that time, and look how easy it just comes off. Now that I've thought about it a little bit, I don't have to take the head off. So it is kind of interesting, that head. And I guess if I didn't need that gigantic helmet, oh, you know what? This is probably his head. This is probably supposed to be what he looks like underneath that. Like if you were to pull that off, he has his little helmet and disguises cowl. So I think I might have him up there like that. I'm going to give him this one right here. So I think this is the one that he's got some canisters there on his shirt. And I think like that's the one I think that would work for him. So I think that this is kind of cool. All right, let's see what's going on over here. Wagon, my bro's an avid collector, and his name is Vern too. Hey, that's fantastic. Does he remember those commercials? Because I don't know if you noticed, I put Hey Vern in my picture here. And one of the reasons why I do that is because there were these commercials way back, and it was this guy Ernest who did all these like movies, and it was like, Hey Vern, you know what I mean? And I used to get that all the time. But hey, thanks. Welcome. Oh, I got my computer stuff stuck on this like table. Oh, yeah, there. That's better. All right, so let's see. Oh, I'm glad you found the channel too. You're a NECA fan? Awesome. You know what? Thanks for joining us. And I'll bring these down just to show you some of my NECA figures. Just for tuning in and finding the channel today. So I don't have a whole lot. Oh, I don't have a whole lot of NECA figures, but I do have this McCready, which I thought was one of the better NECA figures. And I'm pretty happy with this one. This is the head sculpt that it's going to have on it. I know I had a couple of different ones in there, but I really think this is the one that I like the look for. And then recently, I don't know if you've gone through any of my videos, but I have a full review of Homelander and Starlight. So these were actually a lucky find, so I was glad to pick these up. So I got Homelander and Starlight as part of my collection. And you know what? These two figures are probably going to be the ones that kind of make me collect some more, because I do have the Marty McFly and the Biff Tannen and stuff like that. But the flexibility on them isn't that good. But like if you look at like the arm joint on this, it is a double arm joint and gives some pretty good flexibility in the arm. And I was really impressed that they had that double flex in the leg too. So if you guys haven't seen these NECA figures, I highly recommend them. Those ones are actually pretty decent. Okay, let's see. Tomb Toys. I know what you mean, Vern. Yes, you do. And okay. You busted me, dude. You busted me. All right, so here's what happened and why I didn't just pull Godzilla out. One, I can't find them. Hold on. Oh, okay. Two, I just found them. One, I put them back in the box after I did the review. And one of the reasons is because I'm going to 3D print like the spire from, yeah, Ernest goes, I'm going to 3D print the top of the building. I want to 3D print like this part of the building or whatever, like something that you would have for, for this time, that the Empire State Building or whatever. I want to 3D print that piece so that when I stick him up on top of the shelf, he's kind of right there with that. So that's kind of one of my next 3D printing projects that I'm going to do, is try to print something like that out. Yes, I saw Homelander drinking milk, and it sure did his laser eyes good. And yes, that's Ernest. Yeah, he also saved Christmas. Nice way to McCready to arrive here in Thailand. Wow, you're all the way from Thailand. Thank you. I figured he would have been there first because I keep seeing like pictures of people over in Asia getting like all of the G.I. Joe figures and all of the figures that Hasbro's making first. But interesting. Yeah, the Kong is like actually really cool. I did a review and I did a little stop motion. That was probably, I spent the most time on that stop motion, and it was super short. I was like, oh my gosh, it took forever. And then it was like super short, but yeah, it was pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, monkey lizards like milk. Oh yeah, in Hong Kong, right? Hong Kong gets them first. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, when I get that done, I'm gonna probably do a whole picture array and stuff like that. So no, none of the new stuff. I have one aliens figure like way up there, and I got it out of uh, an auction lot. So he's kind of like buried in the back, but I don't think he's not like a NECA or whatever. He is something, he must be something else or whatever. Were they always the ones making the aliens? Because I think that was from a while ago. It has like the little thing that comes out of his mouth and stuff like that. I'm not going to get him down because it's like buried back there now. I just got to reorganize. It's on the very top shelf, and you can see like every time I pull one down from that area, all of these ones in the front have a tendency to just want to take a topple. So I'm not really doing that anymore, unless I plan on it. Okay, I get it. Yeah, tell them. Okay, so we opened some Marvel figures. We opened the AIM Scientist and the AIM Trooper. We did Star-Lord, which is an older figure, right? And then we did the Apocalypse figure. Or for the Horatio. And I had another figure here that I want to open. This one is a McFarlane. This is the McFarlane Wonder Woman. Now, since I kind of waited because I was waiting to see if Salacious was going to show up, because he always likes it when I'm opening a Wonder Woman figure, because he likes to give me a hard time about it, because he thinks that there's some other way you can hold the figure than actually holding the figure. So I'm going to move this back a little bit so you can see a little bit more of that workup area. And I don't know if you guys saw my pictures that I posted on Twitter earlier today with this Black Widow in front of like the gas pump. This is actually from Hobby Lobby, and it has a little light in it. I thought it was like perfect for kind of like sitting the bike in front of and doing some pictures. I thought it was kind of turned out kind of cool, especially with all the dark background. So that was so if you shop at Hobby Lobby, stuff has a price, and then it has their 50% off price. So they kind of remind me of Pacific Eyes and Tees a little bit, where the Ray-Bans were always 50% off after their 50% markup. So there was always a sale going on. But that was 50% off yesterday, so I picked it up. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's probably a McFarlane Aliens is what I have. What have you missed? Have you got angry? No. Marvel Legends, yeah. Dan Denny has some good alien figure reviews. Yeah, he sure does. And you know what? He did the one on the King Kong or whatever, and totally sold me on the Kong, by the way. Yeah, I think you're right. Kind of new the action figure scene. MCF movie Maniac 6 started it all for me. All right. Hey, Sleeping, how's it going? Touching his lady figures. See, I'm going to have to look up this 8008135 again. I got to figure out what that means. It's some secret code that the monkey lizard has developed to talk smack about me. But anyways, this is a McFarlane multiverse figure. I don't collect many of these at all. As a matter of fact, I only have one that I've done a review on, and it was the mech Superman or whatever. And the main reason why I got that one is because he reminded me of like Ultraman, and just the armor and stuff made me think of those old shows that I used to watch, like Ultraman and stuff like that when I was a kid growing up in Okinawa, and we would watch these shows religiously, and it was like really cool to see that Superman in that outfit that just had that look like a cross between Ultraman, Mazinga, and all these like giant robots or whatever, and the armor was super, super cool. But this is the Death Metal Wonder Woman, and look at the chainsaw on that. Looks really, really cool. And here she is. So we're going to open this up. This will be my second McFarlane multiverse figure only. And partly because I do like the Wonder Woman figures. I have a few. And I don't collect the scale just because they're a little bit bigger than everything else you would have. But this one looked really cool, and I kind of wanted to get it out of the box. There's another Wonder Woman that's coming out in the McFarlane that I'm very interested in. And I've been watching some videos on the Justice League figures, and that Superman in the black outfit looks super cool. And I know he went up for order online today. Like, you get them on Walmart online now. And I almost did it, but I didn't. But I have a feeling I'm going to. And then as soon as that happens, it's going to be all over, because I probably have a whole bunch of these 7-inch scale figures in my house. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been trying to not do it, but you still got to go and look at them, right? And then that's what happens. Let's see. A Suicide Squad line by yeah, it does look good. And the thing is, I thought about maybe going with all Mafex for the Justice League, because I got that Mara figure. And I think that one is actually really, really cool, that Mara. And I really am digging like that Mafex and the figure arts. They're just a little bit pricey for me. And so, let's see. Vintage Earthquake Tower from the 70s. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it again. At least this isn't a model. But that Mara figure, and then the Wonder Woman that I have is a SH figure arts, and I was really liking the fact that they're in that 6-inch scale, and I like the posability of those figures. I just wish like trying to get a Batman or a Superman didn't put me into like the $100 plus range. I know that those guys like Brandon, you're starting to do like the Hot Toys, and I know those can be very pricey, but I'm not really there yet where I want to spend that much. I see them, and they do look phenomenal, by the way. And I used to collect the 12-inch G.I. Joes pretty religiously. And I remember looking at the Hot Toys and those figures when I was really heavy into that 12-inch scale figures. And I kept thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe this is going to be the next step. The next step was going to be getting the Hot Toys. but the price points were just so high. And then it was around that time that I think I discovered the Black Series of 6-inch scale figures, and then I just was like, man, these look really good, and they're like $20 or whatever they are. So I stuck with that. That's how I ended up not going that way. But I think it's awesome. I love seeing you guys with your hot toys and stuff like that. And I have yet to, if I ever get one, this is the danger. I buy a lot of auction lots. So if there's ever one stuck in there and I get one, I think it's going to kind of open a window for me. It's going to be like this. Play Arts Kai is about this figure size, which is like that 7-inch scale. And I do have a Arkham Batman and Catwoman. And now I have a Tomb Raider figure, and working on trying to get a couple of Final Fantasy figures. So, that's like kind of opened the door there. This is part of a Build-A-Figure. So this Batman head and this cowl came with the Wonder Woman, and they're part of the Build-A-Figure. So I'm going to have to set those aside. And if anybody's building any of these, let me know if you're not going to get this figure. But she does come with this really cool chainsaw, and it's gold. This is the chainsaw of truth. Once it starts cutting into, you will give up the truth. I think that's how this Wonder Woman works, right? But this is actually pretty cool. I think it's a pretty good look. I mean, this hair right here does hinder some of the articulation in the head, right? This is what I'm trying to avoid when I was talking about earlier doing molding for that hair on the Black Widow. But you can get it to move around. And the thing is, look at the extra joint right up here in the shoulder for the arm, right? So it does have like that extra movement in there, which is actually really cool. It's indicative of like some of those newer Black Series. And she has that double elbow joint, and she has that double knee joint here, which is actually really, really cool. And just look at some of the details on this figure. I think it looks awesome. I mean, look at that. These are like shoulder pads made out of like skulls of some type of an animal. I think that just looks phenomenal. And I mean, and right down here to these boots have this like nice armor. And the nice touch about these McFarlane figures is this extra toe bend here. At first, I wasn't so sure about them, but when you're posing figures, and I notice like when I'll be posing like some type of a Black Series figure, there's sometimes you want to like be able to put like a figure in a pose where their back foot and they're balanced perfectly on their toe. But with this figure, you don't have to, because you can actually just bend the toe down to be able to get that figure to be standing sort of on that front of that toe or whatever, right? Watch, I won't be able to stand this figure up during this live stream. This is what is called like this is not okay. So then you got a little bit of a toe bend, which actually makes it pretty cool. And look at the boots on that. Those are totally indicative of like something like 1970s, and you're going down to the disco, right? I think everybody remembers seeing those shoes in their parents' closet, right? No, not you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down my Figure Arts Wonder Woman. And did you see that, Salacious? I'm here. I'm trying to like stand up the figure. Do you have something you would like to say? Let's see. I'm going to go through these comments really quick. So yeah, I'm doing it again. Hey, Treebeard's Toys, thanks for joining us. And if you guys haven't been over to his channel, Treebeard's Toy Box, you should go check that out. Sleeping Collectibles has a nice channel. Salacious Rum has a channel. Prentice Ewok has a channel. Well, I think everybody here, Cap Cave, right? Way Good, do you have like, do you have videos and reviews on your channel? If you do, let us know. I see it now. Yes, there's going to head swap $400 hot. Yeah, and Geek Strong, you have a channel too, and it's kind of unique. Have you seen any of Geek Strong's videos that he's made? He's doing kind of like a combo, right? Combo ideas. He's kind of cornered the market. Um, awesome figure. Yes, thanks, Kat. I think it's actually pretty cool. I mean, like, I'm not really buying that many of these McFarlanes, but for some reason, this one was saying, "Take me home, or I'll cut you with this chainsaw." Probably. No, I don't know, but I thought it was like really cool. Like, I think maybe because it said metal on there, death metal or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, that's got to be cool. I mean, can you imagine Wonder Woman with her like chainsaw of truth? Right there, you go. And then yeah, I'm doing it again. You have a pair of those boots in white? Yeah, I remember that. It wasn't my parents, it was my older brother, I think, had a pair of pumps in this closet. So what I thought would be interesting was, so here's the Mara. I know I did it. So here's the Mara. It's the figure arts. And a lot of people had left me some comments and they weren't too happy that I had this figure or whatever, but I think it's actually pretty good. We're talking about it and I was like, you know, how would it compare to next to the actual Aquaman? And I'm from the McFarlane, and yeah, it is super tiny. It's not the right scale, but I almost thought it could be, because if you see pictures of Jason Momoa and Amber Heard, or pictures of the Aquaman and the Mara, there is a sizable difference, but this is like way more of a size difference than I thought there was going to be, because I didn't have obviously that many McFarlane figures. And then when you put this Wonder Woman next to this Wonder Woman, you can obviously tell there is a huge size difference between the scales. And so that just would not work together. So now I'm in a dilemma, right? If I want a Schneider version of Justice League, do I get the McFarlanes, which are going to be very, very inexpensive, compared to if I go ahead and decide to load up and get a version of the Justice League in a combination of SH Figure Arts and Mafex, because I think you can get some from in Figure Arts and some in Mafex, so you could probably get most of a Metacom Mafex. But because I have this one Figure Arts, I'm sure that they have other Justice Leagues, and you know, do I mix and match them? So that's kind of like where like I kind of have this dilemma. And the thing is that McFarlane didn't highlight that there was going to be a Mara figure. So then it's like, get the Justice League in McFarlane and not have a character, or try to pick up all the characters in this line and have like the entire team, right? And I know it's kind of strange, because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was when I was doing this Mara and the Wonder Woman, and then I was thinking about this Wonder Woman, and I was like, man, I'm going to put these like Wonder Woman figures on my shelf. I'm going to put the Mara figure on my shelf, and where are the rest of my DC figures? And I'm looking around thinking like, man, and I think it was because, you know, those little red box multiverse figures that they were selling, I wasn't interested in them when I was seeing them. I mean, it's just the quality of them just did not look that good. The McFarlanes are way better. They're just too big. I wish they were in that 6-inch scale. But these Metacoms, Mafex, and the SH Figure Arts are just quality figures. And Treebeard's here. Yes, he says Mara figure rules. And oh my gosh, you got the Mafex Aquaman? Okay, well, I'm sure I'm going to be seeing that pretty soon. And I started thinking, like, where are all my DC figures? And then I realized, I think this is pretty much the only other DC figure besides a few Batmans, like the the Play Arts Kai figures that are in a different scale, that I actually have. I don't really have any of those 6-inch multiverse DC figures. But I do have this. This is in the 6-inch scale, so he fits with this Wonder Woman and the Mara a little bit. And this is a Hawkman that I was able to get out of an auction lot. And a while back, and he's just kind of been sitting on the back of one of my shelves. I've been hesitant to do anything with him because I'm like, I didn't collect any DC at the time, and I was thinking, do I try to put together a Justice League set or something like that, or do I just like maybe sell this guy and let him go to somebody who does have a large DC collection. But then I was looking at this figure, and this figure is got some accessories to it, which was kind of nice to be able to get accessories with a figure in an auction lot, because a lot of times you'll end up with just the figure and maybe one accessory or something like that. But he had this like claw piece, and he had the battle axe, which was really, really cool for that figure. And the articulation in these were kind of weird because, you know, it does have that forward backward motion, but he has like a hinge joint, which has his leg come out. It's not on a ball at all. It's a hinge. So it's kind of like really different, the articulation on these figures. And so I was kind of interested, but just having like the figure with the wings is actually pretty cool in a way, right? And so I was kind of glad to get them. And I think that's why I'm still holding on to it, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm going to like, I'm going to build out one day a whole Justice League area. Because, you know, to be completely honest, I didn't just read Marvel comics when I was younger. I did read some DC. I did read a lot of Justice League and Superman. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the comments really quick. I think there's no more comments. Everybody's gotten quiet. But anyway, so those are figures I really wanted to open up today. So we got this Hawkman that I just pulled off the shelf. I was going to pretend like I just opened it for people who just started watching. So it was this Wonder Woman, the Death Metal Wonder Woman with the Chainsaw of Truth, which I think is actually really, really cool. And this is one of those figures that I think is good for just kind of like, is going to be a great figure for like posing and having on a shelf and just looking really cool. I think McFarlane does a really good job of making figures that are just going to look awesome posed in your collection on your shelf somewhere. And this one right here, I think just looks phenomenal. And I think it looks really cool. You also got the AIM Scientist and the AIM Trooper and all of their accessories. We opened up Apocalypse, and we got the skull, which I'm now contemplating doing something about. And let's see, where is he? And here is Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy with his headset and without the green or orange things on his head. And then just because we could, what we did was we did a little arm swap with this Mr. Hyde. We put the Crimson Dynamo arm in the socket and wanted to see how that looked. See, it's not a perfect fit because they're obviously designed to go with them, but we can always modify that so it fits. So there's Mr. Hyde with the Gamerverse Hulk head and the Crimson Dynamo arm. And I think that actually looks pretty cool to have that arm on there. So if you're building figures with these Build-A-Figures and you got like some big figure parts or whatever, and you didn't complete them, you can always throw pieces together. Now I do have this Crimson Dynamo leg, and I did try to stick that on there earlier just to see, but because all of this is in the way, it didn't really fit. But if I were to go ahead and like trim all this down, I can get that Crimson Dynamo leg on there, and you can kind of see what that might look like. And then the other thing we were talking about was if you got other Build-A-Figures and say like you're missing a part here and there, and you have like say parts, especially if they're like the same size, you could do something like the Tri-Sentinel Groot, right? And this is going to be kind of a pain because sticking this head back on sometimes is kind of hard. But so here's the Tri-Sentinel, and I stuck Groot's arm on there also just to see what it would look like. If we had Groot's legs, it would be really funny to have Groot's legs on there and maybe two of Groot's arms, and we could have a Tri-Sentinel Groot. That could be kind of an interesting mashup. But there's all kinds of weird, wild stuff you can do with like your figures. I do like this though, this whole idea of this. I mean, I didn't think it was going to work at first, but the more I after seeing it, I was kind of like, yeah, surprised, because it really is indicative of when Winter Soldier ripped off his jacket sleeve and revealed his metallic arm. So, anyways, before we go, does anybody have any questions or anything, or want to make any comments? I really appreciate everybody coming and stopping by and hanging out. I know that there's some folks going to be doing some live streams in a little bit. So I don't like to do live streams if they're going to like run on top of somebody else's live stream. So I'm probably going to end in the next couple of minutes. But I am really impressed with this Wonder Woman. And just finally, once again, for those that are still here that maybe weren't here at the beginning, here's the Black Widow, and I did replace the hair with that other one. And I am looking for like an option to kind of do some curlier hair in there. So shoot me some ideas. I'd really appreciate it if you could. And I might try some of that hot blue and painting them in. There was some other idea in here that I was going to look at also. And I'm really glad that you guys all decided to stop by and spend some time with me opening these figures. I really appreciate it. And I hope you'll check out some of my other videos and come back tomorrow. I'm going to do a whole thing with like my iPad and some real rudimentary video editing on the iPad with non-subscription based apps. And just to kind of maybe like do a little bit more with some photography and stuff like that. Thanks, Josh. Josh says, keep doing what you're doing. Love watching these. Yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting because like I never ever once thought about doing a live stream like this or like any kind of a live stream. And so we started doing that 3 Minute on a Monkey Lizard. But it is kind of fun because you can just come out and start showing stuff or doing stuff. And then, you know, one thing leads to another. Sometimes it can be kind of like hectic because, you know, I'm like, oh, wait, oh, yeah, no idea. But I was really happy that everybody stopped by, everybody who came by today and participated in the chat and or just sat back and watched, because I know that sometimes when you're watching on your TV or something like that, it's hard to chat or comment. But I really appreciate it. And thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. And hopefully if you got time tomorrow, I think it's going to be at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to look on Twitter today for new action figure photos that people might want to have like edited so I can have something to do. But anyways, let's see. Geek Strong, thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. And I've checked out your videos. I love them. And yes, I know you have been watching. You were making all kinds of 80082 something comments that I have no idea what you're talking about, but they are much appreciated. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I do have a review coming up later today. I opened up the Red Guardian double pack with the Melina figure and the Red Guardian Build-A-Figure from the Crimson Dynamo. That's where I got the arm and the leg. So I got a review popping up around 5 o'clock. It's in the Pacific time, so 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And while Salacious is sleeping, because that's the way I like to do it. And it's Red Guardian versus Red Guardian, because I'm going to compare the two versions. I'm going to compare the Black Widow in the black and gray outfit with the white outfit, and then the Melina figure compared to both of those. So hopefully you guys will check that out, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks, Kat. And Salacious says he's going live in 30 minutes. He's got a huge box of candy he wants to show off. And he's not going to let any of the monkey lizards eat any because they all look like their teeth are rotting. All right, everybody. Take care.